Hello, I'm Annette Young and welcome to the 51%, a show about women reshaping our world. Coming up, international outrage over US President Donald Trump's ban on US-funded groups worldwide providing information on abortion. As a result, European governments are now looking to fill the breach, including Sweden. Therefore, we'll be talking to the country's Deputy Prime Minister, Isabella Lovin, about the consequences of that ban. Also, queen bees, the Afghan female beekeepers behind a new industry that's beginning to taste sweet success. But first, US President Donald Trump recently signed an executive order barring American aid to international organisations that discuss abortion as a family planning option with their clients, with many NGOs set to suffer thanks to the shortfall in funding. A number of European governments have decided to try and cover the gap. As a result, European representatives will meet next month in Brussels to work out how to maintain family planning initiatives in some of the world's poorest countries. Alexander Orcott has the story.
It was one of Donald Trump's first acts on becoming president, signing an executive order banning American foreign aid to overseas organisations that discuss abortion as a family planning option. Using taxpayer money to fund the procedure itself was already prohibited.
Thank you very much.
Reinstating a so-called global gag rule on abortion is popular among self-titled pro-life groups, but critics say it shows the new administration's disregard for women's reproductive health rights.
It's disappointing that facts and figures don't convince lawmakers in the US in this case. And it's disappointing to see that women's rights and women's bodies continue to be an element of a political discussion and not just something that obviously a woman has a right to choose. And everybody should be supporting that.
In response to Trump's executive order, a number of European countries have stepped up to take a lead on the issue. Liliane Plowman, the Dutch Foreign Development Minister, established the NGO She Decides to raise money for aid groups whose funding is now threatened. Belgium, Luxembourg, Sweden, Denmark, Finland and Canada have all promised to back the scheme and help fill the $600 million shortfall. Also in early March, more than 50 nations, philanthropists and private donors are set to attend the She Decides conference in Brussels, where more funds will be raised.
And what we are doing is rolling up our sleeves and saying, instead of complaining, we're going to take action. And take action is making sure that there is additional budget going to that cause. Taking action is making sure that the impact on the field would be minimized.
Health experts say Trump's policy is likely to heighten the risk of illegal and unsafe abortions, and that the number of abortions will actually rise as health clinics are forced to close or restrict contraceptive supplies.
Alexander Orcott with that report. Now, one of those governments stepping into the breach is indeed Sweden, and its Deputy Prime Minister is Isabella Lovin, who now joins me from Stockholm. Thank you so much for being with us. What exactly are the
Thank you very much.
What exactly are the consequences of this executive order by Donald Trump for those working in the field of reproductive health?
Well, I think the consequences are mostly for the women that now will not be have the correct information around sexual and reproductive health and rights. You can see what happened during the last time when we had this so-called global gag rule during George W. Bush, and that is that the unsafe abortions actually increased. And I mean, this is really affecting millions and millions of women, because every second minute in the world someone dies due to pregnancy. And there's millions of girls getting pregnant before the age of 15. So the right to the access of correct information and safe and legal abortion is a matter of life and death for millions of women.
Now, will Sweden and these other European nations be able to cover all of the shortfall?
We don't know yet what the consequences will be, because what we've understood from this presidential order is that it's much more all-encompassing than the previous global gag rule. So we will see what the consequences will be. We will certainly step up on our financial commitments. We already dedicate 60% of our global health aid going to sexual and health, reproductive and health and rights. And I think mostly now we also need to mobilize the political commitment and the political will to show the world that this is a matter of health, it's a matter of gender equality, it's a matter of life and death. And we can't really go back on development, because maternal health has really improved during the last 25 years. Maternal mortality has gone down by 50%, and we can't really now turn that development to a negative one.
Now, you became an internet sensation after posting an image appearing to parody Donald Trump's signing of that anti-abortion executive order. It shows you signing a new law surrounded by female colleagues, by contrast to his photo, in which there were no women present. That was a case of trolling, perhaps?
No, listen, that was a very, very serious legal act that I was signing, a proposal for a new climate law. And we need climate leadership in the world right now. We see that climate skeptics are again gaining power in the world, and the situation is extremely serious when we see that the Arctic now was 25 degrees above its average temperature now in February. We need to have a serious climate action, and that picture, I think, I'm very happy that it was very much appreciated by so many people, because it's not only about gender equality, it's actually also about sustainability, fighting climate change and taking responsibility for the whole world.
Now, your government is very much touted as being a feminist government, but female members of your government, including the Trade Minister, recently found themselves in hot water after choosing to wear Islamic headscarves during an official trip to Iran. Isn't that hypocritical somewhat?
That delegation consisted of 15 people, out of which 12 were women. I think that was very, very unusual for a visit, an official visit to Iran, that the delegation consisted almost only with women, women with power. And that was very conscious. And I think our policy is to have a frank and open dialogue about human rights, about gender equality, about the situation of women. And those were the messages that were brought forward by the delegation in Iran. And by the way, the law in Iran is that you need to wear a headscarf. And for an official delegation, that was something that the delegation needed to accept.
But it's also a sign that feminism and foreign policy doesn't always go hand in hand, do they?
I think the feminist foreign policy that we are doing is a very, very systematic and consistent policy, where we always factor in gender equality in all our dialogues, all our conversations. Our development aid is very much streamlined, that we make sure that we have gender analysis in everything we do. And I think the message has gotten across. And without gender equality, you cannot have sustainable development. Without gender equality, you cannot have true democracy, because 50% of the world consists of women, and their voice must be heard.
Minister, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And finally to Afghanistan now, where 15 years after the fall of the Taliban regime, the country still remains a harsh place for women. But in the central Bamiyan province, a booming beekeeping industry is giving women the sweet taste of becoming entrepreneurs.
Fatima is busy earning a living. This mother of 7 works with her husband and one of her sons producing honey. It's unusual for women and men to work together in rural areas of Afghanistan, but here she's the boss.
I am very happy. My husband, my son and I keep busy with this. My husband sells the equipment of beekeeping, and my son helps me to carry the heavy equipment and do what I cannot manage.
I support her 100%. I solve whatever problems she faces.
As part of an NGO-led initiative, women from different villages in Bamiyan province have been trained on how to keep honeybees. According to official records, there are 400 registered beekeepers in Bamiyan, and half of them are women. Together, they produce an average of 14 tons of honey each year.
First, my mom started beekeeping, but when she passed away, I took over. After I finished school, I didn't study further, so I took care of the honeybees.
Syed Faraidoon inherited this job from his wife.
An organization trained my wife, and I learned from her. Now I'm handling the whole operation. The income of this is very good. One beehive benefits us more than the income of a sheep.
Beekeeping has offered these farmers a chance to diversify, while for women here, it's perhaps a step towards a more equal future.
And that's it for now. And if you'd like to comment on what you've just seen, you can head to our Facebook page. That's France24.51%, or do send us a tweet at _51%. Thanks for your feedback so far, and please do keep those comments coming in. So until our next show, bye for now.